TFT means thought-field therapy and are techniques discovered by an American doctor known as Roger Callahan. These techniques are used to cure trauma and other psychology health issues and mental disorders. We were trained about this technique, and after realizing that it's important, we employed it in diocese service known as TFT and psycho-social diocesan services. It is a service that deals with traumatized people, mentally disturbed people, and generally other people who need to be talked to, people who need to be comforted, and those who need special attention. In 2009 is when TFT was introduced in Byumba Diocese. During that time, we got to know that this technique exists, and we invited Americans who came and trained us. 33 people were trained on how to employ this technique, and thereafter they went to the people and treated them. So far, we see some improvement in the lives of people who are suffering from trauma. These issues are continuing to manifest largely due to atrocities of the 1994 genocide against Tutsis, where Rwandans rose against fellow countrymen and killed more than 1 million people. Many of the survivors of that genocide, coupled with some people from the killers' families, are suffering from trauma. There are also some people that the government set free from prisons, and when they met the victimized survivors, due to guiltiness and failure to reconcile with the survivors, they also got traumatized. We had to introduce a specific program to comfort them and convince them to live with fellow Rwandans without remorse. That was no any other way other than treating them the wounds caused by the past experience of genocide. Either killers or the survivors, both groups suffered from trauma. We considered restoration of hearts and treating them from trauma as the first remedy, and so far has helped us to get them reconciled. This psychotherapy program has lasted for a while. Due to what happened in Rwanda, there are many widows, many homes, and many young people that were traumatized. This is more evidenced during genocide commemorations. That's how we called upon some people to come and teach us to listen to the affected people, how to comfort them, and how to treat them. Then we received people from the United States of America who trained some priests and volunteers. Thereafter, we started to look for the affected people, listen to them, and those who are seriously sick are taken to hospitals, namely Ndera and Kigali hospitals. We've put full-time people who operate from different parishes that have the most affected people, most especially widows and children survivors. We plan to put in place a special center that will receive people for treatment. Also, those who are qualified locally and those who return from USA, when they return, they teach or train other people so that there is a wide coverage in dealing with these issues. Emmanuel Mujambere and Olive Mukalukundo are some of those who were once affected by trauma. This family was traumatized, but after going to a center, IZERE, where TFT operates from, they received assistance, which has helped them till date. My issues started at a tender age. It started in a form of epilepsy. And during the war of 1994, we ran away, and my parents would say I'm mentally disturbed and that I shouldn't follow them, otherwise I risked their lives to be killed. We continued with our journey of escape, and later, when we returned home, my parents said, I'm tantamount to nothing, and I should be following other children to school instead of staying at home. Indeed, I joined school but couldn't understand anything because I was given a back seat for everyone to know I'm sick. At times, I would stand up and go to the front seat. Therefore, the teacher would ask, what is wrong with that one and why has she moved? Students would reply, that one is mad. He would say, let her go back to her seat and don't bother her. And then I would go back to my seat. No teacher cared about me, and I continued like that till primary 5. And it's during primary 5 that I got held. Later on, I reflected on myself and said, I finished my 6th year, and yet I can't read or write. What will I say to a person who requests me to write for him? That's when I reversed my mind and started learning how to write, beginning with you and then my name, which I couldn't write before. Later, I joined choir where I met a friend and I got married to him, after which problems overwhelmed me. I had not informed my husband about my former situation. I would continuously suffer from heart attack, and my husband would ask, are you suffering from heart attack or what? I would agree, yet there were other issues I had. Indeed, we had heard about a center that assists traumatized people, and that way I contacted a therapist called Adrienne, and I narrated my story to her. I also told her that I had not shared any of my past experiences with my husband, and I'm overwhelmed and burdened by the same. Can I share with my husband? Or how do you advise me? The therapist advised me to come with my husband, and through a process of discussions, we should tell him about my problems, and other things will follow gradually. Finally, I talked to my husband, and I'm at peace because my husband accepted to come with me. I had been overwhelmed by an issue that I hadn't shared with my husband. My issue was that in the 1994 genocide, I survived among 6 relatives who were killed, and I was picked from the dead bodies by some elderly people. Till that time, I've not managed to recover from the memories of that reality. That's to say, those memories continued to traumatize me because all that happened from home, and it's the same home we returned to after the war. Due to what had happened from that home, I felt insecure to continue living in it. Every time I felt compelled to go away, but each path I took, I would remember the killings I witnessed there. And then I would consider passing elsewhere. I would fear to pass at the main entrance. Rather, I would use a shortcut to avoid the memories of what had happened there. When things turned out that way, I would sit long hours reflecting on my life in undefined way. I would imagine that anytime I was going to die, because it's like I was already living with death. Whenever I would be sent to collect grass for cows, I would see graveyards, and the memories of how we were together begin to traumatize me. What harassed me most are the memories of the conversations we had with other children on our way to fetch water every morning. Whenever I passed that way, I see how things had turned out to be. I would begin to see a deteriorating life for me. I met this wife in choir. Though she had not informed me about her issues then, but she had visited TFT. That's how she brought me to the same center, and I talked to therapist Adriane about my wife's witnessed issues. She asked me, "Have you suffered any consequences of those issues?" I answered, "Yes. There are consequences related to stagnation in developing myself because I had no vision for the future." She asked me again, "How long have you thought of this?" 3 years, I answered. She told me, "Stand as a man and believe that you can achieve something like your neighbors." She asked me, "Are there some developed people you know or see?" "They are there," I answered. She told me, "If they opened up to you, you would discover that they also have problems. However, that they take steps beyond those problems so as to develop themselves." And she told me, "Go also and develop yourself. Think, cancel, and ignore those issues that lag you behind unreasonably." She advised me on what to do whenever issues became hard, and I felt right away and felt happy because I later joined others openly and represented my neighbors in associations and cooperatives. I even go to SACCO to deposit and withdraw money. I don't even fear to ask for a loan. This was not the case before. I was in a sorry state. That's what TFT counseling helped me. In this center, IZERE, I work as a psychologist. I assist different people depending on the demand. It's a center that takes care of disabled children. I attend to those children and help them to adapt life. There is also a nutritional center where parents bring their malnourished children. I again talk to those parents, and in most cases, you find they have issues at home mostly related to unhealthy marriage relationships. We also meet with young people of this parish who come to Center IZERE. The first assistance we offer to them is information related to sexual reproduction so that they get to understand the context of that match they hear in public arena. We equally teach them how to assist themselves in different problems related mostly to what happened in our nation. There are those who have issues of trauma. Psychosocial service is here to render its services, and for that matter, I'm here every Tuesday. We receive people with issues ranging from trauma, depression, and incurable diseases. Many of them understand why them. I help up these categories every Tuesday. My first days of coming to Center IZERE, I found lots of troubled people that had come at the parish. They had this one feeling that whatever you ask at the parish, you get it. They seemingly had no hope for living. Their thoughts were full of today and not tomorrow. There used to be a very big group of disabled women who paraded at the parish, and this was unproductive. After about 5 years had passed since I joined Center IZERE, those widows have formed an association called Brides of Christ. We got them together and listened to their issues, assisted them because many of them suffered from trauma and other problems. It wasn't easy for them to handle those problems due to hopelessness. Formerly, the Brides of Christ didn't bear that name. Instead, they were called widows who belonged in a remote village full of loneliness. We gathered them and brought them to church, and I was elected to be their chairperson. I now encourage them to ensure cleanliness because they were formerly dirty. They were people who seek for trouble due to challenges they had. After all those had gone, I introduced them to prayer. We were given Tuesday service. We would meet and discuss. That's how they began to feel better. Bishop also came to us and encouraged us to generate solutions from within us through agriculture. He gave us technicians who taught us modern agriculture. We did the same and secured great harvest and became rich. Our dressing code changed. We secured food. My present body weight bears witness. This is not how I weighed before. After we had eaten and looking good, Bishop was happy and introduced us to rearing of goats, rabbits, cows, and built good kraals. That way, we secured milk, fertilizers for our agriculture, for better living. Before, there was a forum for us to meet. Life wasn't good. We lived in loneliness. We couldn't come together and put together our ideas. However, after coming together, there is a way we are consoled and we join hands through money contribution, which assist us in solving our challenges once in a while. There is a visible improvement after all those years of advocacy and listening to them. Change is evident on this hill, and local government leadership approve of it. Those elderly ladies no longer come with begging bowel. Rather, they are holding hoes and utilizing their little strength to accomplish some petty jobs. Some of them formerly were afraid of mixing with other people, but now they hold meetings. They attend church service. They have their service every Tuesday, which is clear that they are no more lonely, and their choir sometimes sings on Sunday service without fear. Also, they have developed themselves in a vivid way. Through their limited ability, their association or cooperative, they have run small-scale business. They are given a loan, which they pay slowly as they build themselves. We gave them goats that engages them, since they have got to look for grass of the goats. Formerly, there was a possibility that if they received such goats, they would sell them immediately because they never planned for the future. However, now she's able to raise that goat and give the offspring to her neighbor, for we considered that strategy as a uniting tool, which encourages building up themselves. They are now clean and good-looking, which wasn't the case at the beginning due to less attention they gave to themselves. But now they are engaged in development activities. The young people also received understanding, which has reduced unwanted pregnancies. Concerning the children who go to school living in the center, they were children who never felt secure to mix up with others because of scars on their bodies. They were ashamed and they never thought about tomorrow because they didn't consider themselves to be like other people. Now they are social. They move with others. If you looked at them before, they would spit in your face because they thought you were criticizing them or you are talking about him. They were full of suspicion. But now, they no longer have such issues in that they are excelling in school. Some passed to join 9-year section and continued to high school, where they got good grades, simply because they have crossed from loneliness due to assistance received on several occasions. TFT expanded its activities in Mutete sector, Gicumbi district, where this area knew more atrocities than other places in 1994 genocide against Tutsis. Therefore, different people needed assistance because they were traumatized. The TFT project chose to operate from Mutete sector, Gicumbi district, because this very sector suffered high levels of genocide atrocity compared to other places. That's why we came here, simply to deal with lots of wounds caused by bad history. Again, this sector has advanced as far as unity and reconciliation is concerned. The Diocese's Unity and Reconciliation Commission intervened in empowering people who belong to unity and reconciliation groups so that they can help themselves receiving and healing of the remaining wounds. We started operating there in 2015. And we started with training volunteers who were able to reach out to the traumatized people, especially during genocide commemorations. We trained 24 people so that they can reach out to traumatized people close to them, and we would, whenever necessary, coordinate them. Before, I had a problem of inability to talk to other people. I couldn't accept the fact that my people are dead. It was a very heavy burden for me to carry, and I felt there was no need to talk to somebody about it. I took it personal. The challenge would worsen during the genocide commemorations. Due to the wounds I had sustained in the head and on the knees when I fell into overwhelming water, I felt an inner pain that didn't allow me to talk to people because we had lost many in my family. I would not take care of some of my bad memories. And there is one person I held in my heart and felt unwillingly to let him go. Every time I went to bed, I would be running. I would hear people cutting me with machetes. Whenever I heard people speaking with a loud voice from far, I would fear so much in that I would run away or shout for rescue. Being preoccupied by such things, I wanted to chat with someone for a while, but I had a deceased aunt that I was not comfortable with someone to talk about her. Thereafter, I met with the therapist, and the teaching she gave me is what sustained me. When I returned home, I convinced myself I'm going to adhere to the therapist's teachings. She showed me how I need to behave when I met a problem. She showed me what to do whenever I felt disturbed. And that's what I did. The medical assistance I received so as to recover from wounds, I was told to tap my forehead, at my side rib area, on the nose, and at my fingers whenever I was challenged. Since then, I would go to bed and sleep peacefully. And whenever the taunting thought came, I would apply the same as the therapist prescribed. Before that, my heart would pound so heavily, but thereafter, I received rest gradually. I slept, and the people who used to chase me with machetes were no more, and the sleep was sweet. Before I received the therapist assistance, I suffered from trauma, and I would feel insecure. I never slept well. I would take like 2 days without sleep due to worries and memories of the past. When I later met therapists and advised me on what to do, and as I did the same, I began to feel secure within me and to generate hope for the better life tomorrow. I feel there is no need to keep worrying for the past or thinking about them so much. I feel I should advance unto new and better life and aspiring for development in future. Usually, when one is suffering from trauma, he or she is not thinking properly. I would want to share my thoughts with my wife, but I felt that she was helpless to me. Therefore, I was preoccupied by myself, and that would take me very far. I felt no hope of attaining better life. After receiving that help, I started to talk to my wife, and we would discuss what to do so as to develop ourselves. If there was something to be done, we would discuss about it. Before, I sought no advice from her. I acted by my own decision. If there was a cow to sell, I would sell it and spend the money to drink alcohol. That way, the money would be wasted and we would remain in wrangles, accusing me of wasting things. I felt I had the power in the home and she had no say. Life after genocide, especially for residents of Mutete sector, whether as survivors or the rest of the people, was hard due to the unbelievable atrocities they had gone through. Consequently, coexisting became a challenge amongst residents. Later, people in this sector especially became lucky to get people who assisted them to come together and formed unity and reconciliation groups, which facilitated them to meet, given the hard life they led. TFT later came to support those groups. Those groups helped them to live in harmony, but never healed their wounds. They pushed on with life, bearing unhealed wounds. Later, they invited me to talk to them together with another big group, which helped people to live sustainable lives, given their approach of teaching an individual to first help himself. The treatment was first to help trainees to be healed from trauma, and after they got to help others. When you take an example of some people they have managed to treat, you see a good job. And those who are treated equally appreciate this initiative. That's the main thing TFT has assisted, is assisting and will continue to assist us with because we still need them. There's a big difference in life before receiving this training and after. Due to what we went through, genocide, personally it affected me. I lost lots of people to the extent that during genocide commemorations, I would feel overwhelmed by fear and starting, given that I witnessed and went through. Though we belonged to unity and reconciliation groups and had received some teachings, they didn't take me where I needed to be. This particular training brought lots of improvement. The fear I had before seems to be gone. I feel strong and able to strengthen others. I am able to listen to others. And even if they share the exact experience I went through, I don't feel affected like before. Rather, I feel I'm able to counsel that person. On the 17th and 18th of November 2016, TFT of Vyumba Diocese organized training for prison guards and social workers, and we are trained on how to handle traumatized prisoners, how to handle themselves, or helping fellow workers in assistances where one of them is traumatized. First of all, I've acquired new techniques of counseling for those dealing in clinical psychology. Which is different from the usual treatment of mental illness called psychiatry as used in hospitals. In addition to the counseling received, there is also a technique called TFT, which works to stimulate nerves so that there is a relationship between hormones and nerves to allow free circulation, because many times when hormones are in excess or below standard, it results into mental illness. The strategy is to introduce a stable health program in prisons. It is still an idea researched about, but eventually that service will be employed in prisons to help deal with relevant cases. So far, the techniques of TFT and other methods used have become popular in Rwanda, more especially in the diocese. We operate from schools. We have a program called TFT Schools. We have a program that focuses on families called TFT Family. We also have a program shared with prison guards which focuses mostly on self-resilience, where prisons guards are trained to become caregivers of prisoners. Also, we have TFT for genocide survivors, who we approach and talk to mostly during genocide commemorations. And we as well attend to those who are traumatized. There is another categories of people who approach us for help, namely girls who were impregnated at their father's homes. There are disabled people. In fact, we have a program for the disabled and we help them to feel good about themselves. We so far have started a program in the whole diocese, which is called From Trauma and Psychosocial Disorders to Development. This is to say, a person recovers from trauma and other forms of disorders and enter into development. This is why we invited other people to assist us. Some people came and worked with those groups of people we had treated and cured. They gave them some development activities and made them join cooperatives. In that, we now have several groups of people who are developing themselves.